Oh, you know, Trump's like saying those words of they have no cards. Since he owned a couple of casinos, I'm not surprised he uses those terms with that term. He said Ukraine had no cards when he was trying to get the peace deal with Russia. Uh, he said Iran has no cards, uh, and you know the one person who had cards, many cards, and highly lethal cards against Trump himself was Epstein. Epstein had many cards to play, and that's why he did not kill himself. He had nothing to do with his own death, other than he held the cards against Trump and many other people. Uh, but they killed him, and you know they did. Uh, a man like that has those kind of cards, he knew he could play them and play his way right out of jail. He already did it before. He was charged much earlier, I think it was '08. He was charged and he had a sentence of some kind, but it was minimal for what he did. Uh, and then he was rearrested on new charges. So this doesn't sound like a man that was going to plan on spending the rest of his life behind bars, you know. Uh, even P. Diddy, who was facing life and got off, which gotta wonder how that happened. But he didn't kill himself either, and he was up against it more than Epstein, being a black man. Uh, so I don't think anybody should buy that Epstein killed himself. I think Epstein walked out of that jail and is proverbially in hiding for the rest of his life. And if it ever came to light that he was not dead, they would kill him. you know, so he has to be very careful. He has a lot riding on not being found. I'm sure he's had plastic surgery done. They changed his nose. We really don't know what he sounds like. Um, on the videos, because it's photos, there's no sound. So I think that protects him in a way. Because certain people, when they become famous, their voice becomes famous. Like a Tom Hanks. You know, if you were standing in line and Tom Hanks was standing behind you, and he said something uh, to somebody in the room, and you didn't know he was in the room, you would probably turn around and be like, "Hey, Tom Hanks," you know. But I'm just saying, the voice is married to the entity it comes from, and like my voice, you know, and I can't hide my voice. Uh, but Epstein, I in all the videos I've seen, have never heard his voice, so I don't think he has a problem with that. And his looks, well, he's older. He's probably had tons of plastic surgery done, and you probably would never recognize him. Look at how Kenny Rogers changed when Kenny Rogers had his facelift done. He looked like a totally different man. He looked pretty stupid for what he did because he looked horrible. But I can see something along those lines happening to Epstein. And, you know, he's still molesting. If he's alive, He's still molesting girls and children. Um, leopard doesn't change his spots, and that's what he does, and that's who he is. And just like Trump is still doing it, and the Secret Service and the people in the White House are protecting him when he does do it. His wife doesn't even live at the White House. She wants nothing to do with him, and I'm sure she's paid heavily uh, for her silence and cooperation. Uh, if I had a boyfriend of her own at Mar-a-Lago that she's fucking, and she does, and whatever. It's just when these people talk, they talk about themselves when they talk about you or someone in the room. Like when he talks to reporters and calls them horrible people, calls them liars, calls them anti-American, and all of. He's talking about himself. He's the liar. He's the anti-American. He's disgusting. And that's the way you need to look at it. And it's just projection, and that's what he's doing. He's looking at a mirror when he's looking at a reporter, and he's saying what he sees. And what he sees is a liar, a despicable person, uh, and all the things that he is. And that he knows who he is. The one thing about a narcissist is they know they're a narcissist. They're not in delusion about that. They want you to be in delusion about that. They want you to not know that. That's a cardinal rule. Don't ever admit you're a narcissist. And anybody calls you a narcissist, the first thing you do is redirect and call them a narcissist. It's like, oh, you're a liar. No, you're a liar. That's what they do. So, you know, Trump's a liar. Trump's a narcissist. And Trump has no cards.